Okay, is this working? Oh, it looks like I'm getting volume there. I can see myself, so I think that part is working. And oh, there it is on YouTube. Okay. I've never done this before. I'm at my parents' house, and this is my mom's computer, and I am downloading software and reading things on how to do this. So hopefully this is working. The internet can totally see you now. Okay, YouTube, I believe you. Now, is anybody here, and how do I tell people where I am? That's the next question. There it is. Share. Share to. Okay, now, hopefully, you guys are going to show up. So, where are we? Oh, look, there's a bunch of people there. I didn't realize he was going to do that. It's too late. I had to download software.
All right, so we have to come down here.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. Whoops. All right, there are people here. Excellent. Hi, guys. So apparently I was supposed to do it on a different computer, but I downloaded all the stuff here, so sorry. Turns out I did have to download some stuff. Yeah. Do you want to pull over chairs?
Chairs down here.
Oh, I'm so glad this is working. Okay, so we can see people's comments over here. So everybody's saying namaste and hello and good morning. This chair might be too wide to show everybody. Yeah, you'll have to lean a little bit. Okay, so can you guys hear me? Please comment and let me know if you can hear me. See, it's showing right here, so I think it's working because when I talk, this goes up. Oh, this person says yes. Yes, we can hear you. Dad's making sure the microphone is working well. Awesome. So yes, this is my mom and dad. And tilt a little bit more. Volume is a little bit low. We need to be louder, so we can turn it up from there.
I turn it up here. I turn it up here. I turn it up here.
Oh, then we can hear it ourselves. We're hearing us through there. So weird. Okay. This one closer. Whoa, okay, what's wrong? Brusky, what's up? Are you guys hearing that weird like thing? Yeah, something's wrong. How is that volume wise? Yeah, the echo. Something's wrong with the volume. We're hearing that too. Okay, maybe I just need to talk really loud. Oh, but that echoed.
Well, it's not echo necessarily. It's time delay.
No, they're saying no more echo. It was scary. Oh no.
Yeah.
Sorry. I've never done this before. Sorry for the weird noises. We're trying to figure out the microphone. Output volume, input level. Can one of those be muted?
I did. That's what I did.
Oh, you did? Okay. Just talk louder. Okay. I will try to remember to talk louder. I'm bad about projecting my voice. Okay. So, yeah, this is my dad and my mom. Do you guys have any questions that you'd like to ask them? They look great. Yes, they do. My mom and I are very similar looking. I have some of my dad and me, right?
Definitely.
I have the forehead, apparently. What do mom and dad think about our religion?
Well, we've been following Advaita for many years, and we think it's great.
So you would consider yourself an Advaitin? That would be...
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we don't follow as many of the traditional Hindu practices as Carolyn does. We meditate regularly, and we're devotees of Sri Bharati Tirtha and Sringeri.
Are you cool about everything I do? I'm sure they're cool with the religious stuff. I don't know about the putting myself out on the internet stuff.
We're getting more used to that. It's not sort of the way I'm used to putting things out there. So this is sort of harder for me to project myself out or be public with what I do or what I believe.
Dad is very cool, calm, and composed. He's known for that. Hinduism is complex. Are you guys comfortable with that?
Oh, yeah. Complexity is good. Because the world is complex. It's good to have a complex religion. It offers lots of different paths, different ways and opportunities. And some people find themselves drawn to one more than another. So it's good to have lots of opportunities.
Do you follow Vishnu's preachments in the Gita? Also, Dad, you need to talk louder.
Oh, yes, okay, sorry. I'm further away from the microphone, but I do tend to mumble, according to my wife.
Yeah, I agree. You mumble.
Well, we love the Gita. Whether we practice everything in the Gita, we try.
It's the best you can do.
Don't always
try.
succeed.
We try to practice vairagya and to be detached from results as much as we can, but it is difficult. And
Okay. What brought you guys towards Hinduism?
Study of Advaita. I think we began in a group that met regularly in Boston. We started in 1970, and it was influenced a lot by Shantananda Saraswati, who was Shankaracharya in Jyotirmat for a few years and was a teacher who was very eloquent in his preachings, and we read his answers to questions from members of the group, and were very inspired by that, and inspired to study Sanskrit and to read Upanishads and Gita. That's really how we got into it all. And that group still exists today and still practices together and studies together. About a third of the members have been to Sringeri, to the Sharada Pitam.
Yeah, that's one of the other questions, is when are we coming to India? And we have all been to India.
And we were there in February.
These two were.
Of this year.
I couldn't
this
make
year.
it happen with the baby.
And it was my third visit and my husband's fourth visit. Carolyn
I've been twice.
has been with us twice. And
I'm sure we'll go again soon.
Yes, we do want to take Garrick.
Yeah, we want to take Garrick Ravi to meet His Holiness and experience India. So another question up above here is, Advaitism was promoted by Adi Shankara, and he used to worship Shiva. Many times he talked about Vishnu and other devatas. Then how is Advaitin not a Hindu, only Advaitin?
oh, it's not that we. I guess I don't. I wouldn't say I'm not a Hindu. I guess it's just not something I since I don't perform the rituals and stuff, I find it, I wouldn't identify myself as a Hindu, but I don't really have a problem with someone calling me a Hindu. I don't.
Yeah,
I just.
Advaitin is a branch of Hinduism. It's
Yeah.
a little more specific.
Mhm.
Let's see, what do we have? Well, they're still saying they can't hear properly.
Well, we could try increasing the
Yeah, it might make weird noises again.
just one or two notches.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's give that a try. It sounds like sonar.
Yeah, that may be indicating noise.
Yeah.
Let us know if this has created any feedback noise.
Okay, so let's try another question. Are you fascinated by ancient cultures? Just fascinated by truth, right? Like, wherever you find it.
Yeah, no, that, I mean, I wouldn't describe myself that way. We just happened to be introduced to Advaita, and that attracted us, and we found what we learned in it was an expression that was in other, the Christian scriptures that we read, and I guess religion has always been a fascination, so I've read scriptures, and we found it seemed to express it more directly than, say, the thing I'm most familiar with was the Bible, but it seemed to be expressing something there, but more directly.
So we wondered if, the Bible has been manipulated over the years and altered, and it seemed like the Vedantic scriptures maybe a little less so.
I wouldn't call it altered, or I just think it was, I'd call it veiled. That it was
Edited.
not edited, just
Yeah.
that
Sort
the
of more
way-
metaphorical in a way,
yeah,
the way Jesus
yeah.
spoke about
the
truth.
way that it was expressed was more in metaphor and not quite as directly as it's expressed in the Upanishads.
The next question is, does Dvaita lead to contradictions? I don't know if I understand that question.
Well, I don't think, you know, because Hinduism is so open, I don't have anything negative about Dvaita. I mean, I think you can sort of go back and forth, as I sense. Some days you feel more devotional, or that sort of God is out there and wanting to view it that way, or that's how it seems to be viewed, and other times God seems more within, or so I don't
That's a good point.
feel that Dvaita versus Advaita is an issue.
Where do you think all religions agree or meet at?
Probably the expression of the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, is an expression. See, that's an example where Christianity doesn't quite take this step of they are all you. So, you know, that is the fuller expression of it is you treat others as you would want to be treated because they are you. There's no difference. And I think I can't speak for all religions, but anyway, that's what I hear in the two religions I'm most familiar with. But the Hinduism seems to express it, or at least the Advaita aspect of it, that seems to express it more directly.
But,
You agree?
yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that's right. That what religions we know of and have worked or studied or practiced do seem to agree on a lot, and that is one of the things that struck us when we began to study the Vedantic scriptures, is the similarities between the different religious approaches. That essentially one's essential nature is true and divine, and it does come out more directly, it seems, in the Vedantic scriptures.
Okay, the next question is, are you happy with Ambaa's decision to accept Hinduism, and what were your reactions when you first came to know about it?
I'm fine with it.
I don't even remember how I
Yeah,
told you guys
yeah.
that I was identifying as Hindu. It was a long time ago. It was like 13 years ago.
Yeah. I remember one instance from Carolyn's childhood where I can't remember if she was 10 but we were having a discussion about something, and suddenly she became quiet and then said, I think I was born into this family because I wanted to hear these teachings, and I'll be wasting my life if I don't. It was sort of an extraordinary statement from a 10-year-old.
I still think that's true. There's one reason when people tell me, oh, you can't be Hindu, you weren't born Indian, and I say, well, I'm not wasting my time here. Nordic pride is jealous of your good looks.
Oh. Only because you can't see me up close.
No, he's very handsome.
So as you guys can see, I grew up with a lot of spirituality and thinking about, learning about philosophy and truth and religion and gods, and so you can see where I come from. Yeah, he looks intellectual. That is true. I think we're all intellectuals in this family.
We do seem to gravitate towards the studies, the scriptural studies.
Exactly, it's not on
Sanskrit.
purpose.
But we're deeply moved by our practices as well, meditation and chanting the scriptures.
And I do my Shiva devotations.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. Yeah, mom too. Looks intellectual. Will you be teaching your kid about the Gita and the epics? Oh, absolutely. Yes, definitely. When I was a kid, I had a comic book about the early life of Krishna, and I had, we used to take out from the library a kid's version of the Mahabharata that mom would read to me. So I have very fond memories of that, and I would like to share that with Garrick Robbie. Wendy Doninger, an expert on Hinduism, says that Hinduism is a violent religion, giving the example of Gita and its message to fight for dharma and comparing it to Quranic idea of jihad. I think it's a stretch to call Wendy Doninger an expert on Hinduism. She does present herself that way, but I don't know. She seems to have an agenda. Although, to be fair, I can't say I don't have an agenda, so I don't know. But the Gita is a story of war, but I think it's more a metaphorical story, as you see Krishna saying, like, have we done everything possible to prevent the war? This is the last resort. And even throughout the Gita, when he talks about fighting the enemy, and I just looked at this for this week's Gita post, you know, when he says fight the enemy is actually defined as your own passion and anger and frustration. So it's very highly metaphorical, and I think that shows in the way that I have not seen the Gita used as a justification for killing people. And I could be wrong, maybe I just don't know about it, but I've never seen that. So to compare the Gita to jihad seems kind of insane to me. Do you guys have any thoughts about that? I don't know if you know about the whole Wendy Doninger debacle.
No, I don't know.
They're not connected to this stuff.
But I think you see this a lot, you know, the sort of difficulty of dealing with literal and figurative interpretations. And the literal is often misunderstood as the only meaning of the scripture, and you see that in the Bible often. And it seems, you know, very, very clear to us that the real battle is in the hearts and minds of people, and not in some battlefield somewhere. That's a kind of inner battle that we all pursue and must pursue, really.
Have I seen the epics that were shown on Indian TV in the 90s? I've heard about them, and I have not yet seen them, but I do plan to.
We watched the life of Adi Shankara,
Yeah.
and that was very inspiring.
The movie made in Sanskrit.
The movie made in Sanskrit with subtitles, thank goodness. But that's a wonderful movie.
Yeah, a very beautiful movie.
Is there a way to access that?
I think
is
it's
it
on
Amazon
YouTube.
or-
I think it's on YouTube,
Okay,
I
I'll try to
think.
find the link for that and put it in
yeah.
the description.
Yeah, I downloaded it onto my computer, so I think it must be on YouTube.
Okay. We celebrate animal gods. Does that look weird to you guys?
No, I mean, one thing I read is that Vishnu, when he incarnated as Rama also part of his energy or whatever incarnated as Hanuman, and that seemed reasonable to me. He just had a different role to play, and he could, in an animal body, that would maybe it worked better. I don't know. I don't have a problem with that. Or an elephant.
They're all God, right?
Yeah, they're all God.
They all have divine souls just like us.
I was very moved a couple of years ago when we went with a friend to Chennai and some areas around there, and there were many statues of Shiva's bull, Nandi, yeah, and I was very moved by that. The beauty of such service represented in the bull, I found very, very moving.
What do you think of the ascetics in India who subject themselves to extreme forms of austerity, such as consumption of human carcasses? This is coming up because CNN just had this thing where they were showing the aghoris, very unusual sect. So, what do you think about that?
I don't judge them. It's not something I would think necessary, or but I couldn't really comment on that.
Do you have any thoughts about it?
No, not really. There's an interesting story in Swami Rama's book. What's it called? Forgot his book now. Where he speaks about an ascetic who had a devotee go into the river and cut some flesh from a dead body, and then he cooked it and he transformed it into another type of food, a rice dish.
Okay.
Rather miraculous, but who can understand all these things?
It's just matter transforming into other matter.
Yeah, true. I read a really excellent article about the aghoris. I'll have to try to find it. Just talking about how they're just trying to break down convention and kind of startle themselves into enlightenment in a way. And it's just another path, another way to try, and I don't see anything wrong with it. Book recommendation. Yeah, I have not read that book. Dharma has no close meaning in English. Yeah, it's pretty hard to translate. Gerard says, I can see it on your face that you have peace in your life. Today I will start to study the Hindu philosophy. Cool. I hope it helps you. Narayan says, he is from India. He's quite happy to see your incredible torchbearer of Hinduism outside India. Root asks, what do you think about the bad things happening all around the world? Why is it happening and how do we stop it?
Well, one thing, I was watching recently a program on World War One. It's like, it's not any different then, and it's not any different now. This always seems to be, I mean, in these pictures, France looked like Syria does now. And I guess I found it encouraging that things move on and people learn something and rebuild, and then something happens all over again. So it seems to be something we can't quite learn permanently. I guess then, there wouldn't be any more.
Yeah, it's kind of part of the cycle of the world.
Yeah, so all I can do is keep in perspective. I give money to refugee organizations just as that's, I feel like, the only way to help, but try and not avoid listening to political discussions. so that I can try it. It is to try and keep a sense of what's going on, not kind of push it away. But then meditation, we were told, was going like backstage and just to keep things, I guess, for that detachment from it, that it's a way of going backstage and then coming back out to take your part in the play, whatever that is.
Yeah, I think it speaks that speaks to the notion that real peace can only come from peace in the hearts of people. Everything done on the superficial level of starting wars and anger in the world can only really come to rest when people's hearts are at rest. And since we're living in this great drama, it's probably going to continue to be a fascinating drama forever and ever. And it has lessons to teach us. Amazing here, after 9/11 and any of these dramatic issues that come up, it brings out the best in people, which is fascinating to see. Not that that would justify any of these actions, of course, but it's fascinating to see how it can have a helpful effect in the aftermath.
Do you agree that religion is very personal and it should not be given too much importance in the public domain?
I do agree.
That does not surprise me.
I prefer people not display their religion in dress or they want to, okay, but I think things would be better if people didn't do that. That it's a way of making yourself separate, it feels like to me. So I think people can, believe what they want, but I think kind of displaying it to me doesn't feel right.
I think your actions reveal or display your true essence, and it's inevitable that your actions will. So there's no need to take extra efforts. It naturally will come out in how you behave with other people in different situations.
Obviously, I'm very public about my religious beliefs and practice, but in terms of the government, I'm very outspoken that I think religion and government should be completely separate, and I think that protects all of us, that the government can't have a religion that it promotes above others and force its constituents to believe one thing over another. I think that allows everyone the freedom to practice their own beliefs, and being a minority religion in the US, it's very important to me that our government doesn't promote Christianity over Hinduism and make laws that support that. So that's the way I think about that question, but I'm not sure exactly what the intention was. What do you think of Hare Krishna's ISKCON when they say they are not Hindu, they are Gaudiya Vaishnava? I think it's ridiculous for them to say they're not Hindu. How is a Vaishnava not Hindu? Come on now. I think they might be afraid of that label. I'm not sure why, because it's not like Hinduism, at least in the US, it doesn't have a negative connotation.
Yeah, I don't think so, no. Sounds like semantic quibbling.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I know that much about ISKCON and their politics and what they're dealing with.
Yeah.
Have you read anything or seen any videos of Rajiv Malhotra? He is a prominent Hindu activist focused on promoting unity, integrity, and truth. I actually went to an in-person talk given by Rajiv Malhotra at my local temple. So, yeah, I have some personal experience with him. I find, again, just like with Wendy Doniger, and like my parents are not as involved in sort of the political struggle and the hearing about that stuff. And I just hear about it from you guys, like, you know, from blog comments, from YouTube comments, I learn about these things. I find Mr. Malhotra very intelligent and has a lot of great ideas, a lot of good plans, and I'm glad that he's raising people up, making people feel proud of their beliefs and heritage. I do find some problems there, like everything has to be exactly the way he sees it, and if you say, well, what about maybe I see it a slightly different way, it's like, no, you're an enemy forever, like attack, and I've had, you know, statements that I've said on Twitter that he disagreed with, and then it's like 500 people going, you're evil, you're a Wendy's child, you're purposely trying to be against him, and so it's like you can't have a conversation. You just get there's no room for discussion. So I wrote a blog post about my experience going to his talk, and despite the fact that I would say it was 99% positive, that one critique, I had tons of comments of people getting really, really angry at me. So he does inspire a lot of emotion in people. Isn't it remarkable that the Karvaka school of Hindu thought is atheistic in nature? I don't know that I find it that remarkable personally. I have a lot of friends who are atheists, and I've come to really respect them and realize that, like, they wouldn't look at it this way, but to me, I'm like, they're further along the path than I am because they really rely on themselves. It's like they might not realize that it's the big uppercase self, but that's what they're doing. You know, they're really connecting to truth within and not relying on outside forces to tell them how to behave. They really have a strong, like, moral core within. At least all the atheists that I know. I don't see atheism being contradictory to Hinduism at all. Do you guys have any thoughts about
that? Everybody's devoted to something. So,
yeah.
Best to make it the highest thing you can.
Yeah. But if that's the inner self, then, you know, the inner buddhi, the that you're listening to, then, like you said, that can be a legitimate path, even if people aren't identifying themselves as on a path.
Yeah. Like, I find the ritual in Hinduism very helpful because it sort of focuses me and gives me something to connect with, but some people don't need that. Some people can get that same truth and same connection without the murti, without the ritual, and I respect that enormously. I feel like I was going to say something else, but I forget what it was. Do you believe in the forthcoming end of Kali Yuga?
We're very hopeful.
Looking forward to the end of the world, because the Kali Yuga is pretty tough. It's a tough time to be alive. Okay, I guess that's that question. I don't know how soon the Kali Yuga is coming to an end. I always thought it was still.
It reminded me when we were in India recently, and we had the opportunity to speak with a sannyasin who had renounced the world about 20 years ago. He was now in his 80s, and he had been told that his time was close to be departing this world, and he was just a delightful man, but he said that he hadn't reached enlightenment yet, and he was hoping that he could just kind of sit out the rest of the Kali Yuga wherever he was going, and then come back later. and finish his journey.
Come back once it's started over. This is too hard. Sanjeev says that the Hare Krishnas were established to divide Hindus into Vaishnava versus Shivites. I did not know that. Well, I don't like anything that has to do with division. So, I don't like the sound of that. That's sad. One of the things I really like about Hinduism is that it has a path for everyone, and whichever God speaks to you the most, you can follow that one, and it's all the same one, really. If Hinduism gives the message of Earth being one big family, why do people discriminate on the basis of color and religion?
Because they don't get it.
Something to do with ahankara and
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
the illusion.
Yeah, you get these fears that resources are limited and you need to hoard and hang on to what you have and save it for your family. And to me, I think the biggest problem in the world today is that narrow view of what is your family. Because people like to divide up. For some reason, it's sort of built into us, and they say, okay, like, these people that have my skin color are my family, or these people in my religious community are my family, but everyone else is someone other who's going to try to take my resources and going to try to harm us. And I hate that. You know, I think we need to really practice as much as possible seeing every human being as a member of our family. And that's a practice that I try to do is, you know, when I meet someone new, is just think in my mind father, mother, grandfather, aunt, you know, and treat them like that. And even a challenging person, like I'll say our president, you know, it's really hard to see the God in Trump, but I think of him as grandfather in my mind, and I think, you know, you don't always agree with your grandfather's politics, and there can be some strife, but in the end, like, you're still connected to him, and you still love him because he's family, and it's a practice. It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a class one time on using President Trump as an example of Purnamada.
Really? Of everything is perfect?
Well, one thing you could do is, well, I've done is just name them beloved, whoever you encounter, particularly if the encounter is not going the way you would want, is to name them beloved.
That's really good. It just changes your energy,
Yeah.
the way you're responding to them, and that
Right.
helps them to be less
Yeah.
defensive and fighting. There are 3 successive ways of understanding God: Adibhautik,
Bhakti.
Bhakti.
Adhyatmic, and Adidvaidik.
The devotional.
The first one, God is the same as we are, including animals. It explains one question above. Oh, yeah. So that's, you know, being Advaitins as we are. That's our belief, really. Good morning. It is early morning here. It's actually now 7:20, so not too bad. My husband is upstairs taking care of the baby. Kali Yuga signifies the beginning of the end of the universe, much like a body that has started to age and grow old. However, just like a person in his or her prime can still be happy and cheerful. That's a really nice way to look at it. I like that. I know they used to say to us, you know, even in the Kali Yuga, you could be living in the
Right.
golden age
Yeah.
within
Yeah.
yourself. I think that's a similar way.
In
Right?
a moment.
It's an
Yeah.
easier way to understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice. All right, Nordic Pride says, have a good Easter weekend, and thank you for your presence, and hope to see you again. This is really fun. I'm enjoying this. Based on, oh yeah, that's a continuation of the previous. statement about the Kali Yuga, which I absolutely agree. Beautiful way to put it. Hinduism does not believe in proselytizing. Would you say talking about Hinduism online is a way of proselytizing? If you think it is so, then do you think Hinduism should be proselytized? I do not think Hinduism should be proselytized. I don't think talking about it is. I think, just expressing and sharing your journey, your thoughts, your experiences is great. And then if people are interested in trying it themselves, they can come to you. Proselytizing is really that forceful going out and saying, look at this wonderful thing that I have, you need to do it too. And it's natural as human beings to feel like, I have this thing that's so cool, it's wonderful, it's done great things in my life, you're going to enjoy it too. It's really hard for us to understand that not everything that is great for us is great for everyone else. I have a lot of feelings about proselytizing.
Yeah, I think talking online about it is, people have a choice. It's not forced on them. They either join the online or they don't join it. It's a good way to do it.
Yeah, I like the Himalayan Academy has the concept of, what do they call it? I forget, the conversion by choice. They have a word for it. But their system of conversion is really nice, and I think it would be great if every religion took that on, because it has several steps of making sure that this is really what you want and things like that. It's the lack of coercion. My dear sister Ambaa, you are not a white Hindu or brown Hindu, but you are a great Hindu. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. Hi Ambaa, I am also a Hindu, but I believe there are some problems in Hinduism as well. Have you faced any such problem with this religion? I'm not sure exactly which problems that you have encountered, but I would say that it's not perfect, because this is Maya, this is the real world. Nothing is perfect, and it's always human beings taint things with our own, again, fear of having resources and things taken away from us. So not everyone practices it in a perfect way, and there is no perfect religion, in my opinion. I think Hinduism is perfect for me. The only problem I think I've ever encountered is some people who say that I can't be Hindu because of my skin color, but that's pretty rare. Yeah, I don't know, but...
There's a question from me on female gods.
Oh. Yeah, that's the next one down. Yeah, so, living in America, we might not be as exposed to some of the issues that Hinduism might have, since we're less than 4% of the population here. So in India, there might be more clear what some of the issues might be. Oh, you know what one issue is, though? I find people using karma as an excuse to not be compassionate to people. To say, well, you're in a bad place, but you must have deserved it because of what you did in a past life, so I'm not going to help you. And I think that's a gross misunderstanding.
Creating bad karma for that individual.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. So I think it doesn't matter if somebody did something bad in a past life, you still help them. It doesn't matter if they did something bad in this life, you still help them. People need our care and compassion, so that is one issue that I have seen sometimes. So yes, this next question. Other faiths don't have female gods like we have. Do you think that God need not be only male? Female gods are not irrelevant? Or irreverent? Relevant? That seems to be directed at you, I think.
Yeah, when I grew up as a Catholic, and we had Mary, and I loved Mary, and I feel, maybe a connection to Saraswati, Sharada, whatever, and I guess I don't really get concerned or feel concerned about the male-female thing. when I feel the presence of God or whatever, it doesn't, maybe it does have more of a male quality. I don't know. That doesn't really concern me too much, but so I don't know what to say. I feel like that there's a very, that the the guru seems to rely on that female energy, the Sharada, but I think in the Catholic Church was very similar, where Mary plays that role of the female energy that seems to inspire one to pursue religion or whatever it is. I can't quite express it, but it's not something I've found. I like the presence of females, whether they're, but it's not a big deal to me. I'm sorry, I can't really answer that.
Yeah, no, that's good. What do you think about religion and science? Dad, this one's for you. You guys don't know, my dad is a molecular biologist. Hindus find that whatever their scriptures talk about is constantly proven by science. People in the West reject any religious idea outright.
Well, it's a tough question to talk about in general, I guess. I guess personally, if I talk about it personally, I do find that a lot of scientists are religious. They don't talk about it a lot, but it's kind of a necessary part of our lives. And, the issue of trying to prove the scripture scientifically, I think, is rather misguided. We see that in the Christian faith a lot, where literal interpretations of the Bible.
Right, it's like, if we can just prove that Noah's flood really happened, then therefore all of Christianity is proven correct.
Right. It's just not necessary. It's just going down the wrong path. Religious approaches, a deeper, more fundamental.
We might have to start wrapping this up. It's been an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll stop there.
Well, that's such an important question, so I'm glad we got that one to talk about. We might have to explore that a little further. Rusky Brusky says, I would like to apologize on behalf of the followers of Rajiv Malhotra who wrongly criticized you. They are misguided and unaware of who you are and what you contribute to Hinduism. Well, thank you. I don't know. I just, they're entitled to their thoughts, and that's fine. Anything religious in West cannot be scientific nor true for Indian Hindus. What are your views? Not true for Indian Hindus. Religious in West cannot be scientific nor true. Yeah, I don't quite understand that question. You might have to.
This is kind of a spiritual science in a way of. And this is an interesting issue. We've read with great interest a book on Sri Abhinava Vidyatirtha and his development as a young man in the Math in Sringeri, a book called Yoga, Enlightenment, and Perfection. That's available through the Sringeri Math, and it's actually available online. But it's very clear that he experimented with meditation, for example, tried lots of different approaches and noted their effects. And so you could say there's a kind of spiritual science that has to do with trying experiments and seeing for yourself how they come out. And that's been a fundamental part of our group in the Boston area here, of putting the teaching into practice and then speaking about what its effect has been on us and what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, you have to be kind of open-minded to it might not work.
Right.
The scientific part of it is...
And it might not work for you. It might work
for someone else. Exactly. But the scientific part of it is not going in with an agenda of, I have to prove that this is right.
Yeah, open-minded. Scientists have to be open-minded. Yeah.
Do you think about Indian people in general? Oh, what do you think about Indian people in general? Why do you think people outside India do not understand Hinduism? I think people are people. The world over, you're going to find the same kind of tropes.
Yeah.
Yes, but,
I mean,
we've been involved in this for so long.
It's hard to see it from the outside perspective
yeah.
as a typical Westerner.
Well, I would say in our visits to India, we've been very pleased by the gracious reception and hosts we've had. Yeah, very welcoming culture.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that you treat a guest as God is very apparent when we've been there.
Yeah.
And we've been very well treated, and people have been delightful. For the most part, not in the airport, we've had encounters, but not any different from anywhere else. Yeah, but just in general, when we go to the darshan, to the temple area, and people see us, they're always delighted and want to know, why we're there, and
it gives them an outside perspective too, to say why would somebody, what is it in our scriptures and philosophy that draws someone?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The next person says they live in Alabama and it's very Christian society here. They openly talk about it, and I believe that such should also be in Hinduism. Yeah. I think the reason why people in the West don't understand Hinduism is a lack of education. It's just, they just don't know anything about it. And in school, they're taught just a couple things here and there that don't kind of come together, just random, strange aspects. The polytheistic issue, it's really hard for, again, the society that is very Christian. Yeah, we're working on wrapping up. We're getting there. I would rather see less Christianity in our society than more Hinduism, if that makes sense. I don't want to turn into kind of a battle of the wills with making Hinduism more the way Christianity is right now. I think Christians need to learn that they are not the only ones in this country, and that that's okay, and that they can relax, enjoy their own religion, but also that it's not harmful to them to learn about other people's and to see the commonalities, to see the humanity in people who practice differently. And that's a real challenge with, especially in the areas of the U.S. that are very evangelical, like in Alabama.
I think it would be wonderful to see less talk and more action, more Christian actions, more Hindu actions, more actions
of compassion.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to stop and get some breakfast and stop making Mom sit on these terrible chairs. So let me quickly scan and see what we have left here. Food that we're consuming plays an important role in our life, linked with behavior. And should I save these questions and just do it as a blog post or something?
That sounds like a big topic.
All right, guys. Sorry, I'm going to try to see if I can just copy and paste the rest of this stuff and try to address it in a different way. Will there one day be a Hindu American president who will establish dharma, peace, and happiness in North America and the entire world?
Well,
Oh,
it's not going to
if
be what's his
only.
name.
Bobby Jindal.
He's not a Hindu.
I
He's very proudly not a Hindu. Jerk. But no, I don't. Nobody's perfect. We're not gonna have a perfect president. But anyway, so yeah, we gotta stop. Thank you guys so much. This was a lot of fun, and I'm really glad we were able to do this. I hope we can do it again at some point. Okay, so let's see. How do I turn it off? Yeah, I think I copied it.
Oh, did you Control C? Okay.
Yeah,
You got
yeah.
it.
I'm gonna have to paste it somewhere. Okay, cool. Let me turn this off first.